TALK. That's 1-800-572-8255.
Today is November 26th, 1996.
Good morning, fun seekers. How are all y'all? Good. I hope we have eased our way into the week now, and it's going to be a holiday week for a lot of people. For a lot of people, you notice the traffic getting a little better every morning. Not bad at all this morning, and people are already starting their holiday. Hope you're one of them. I hope you got a head start on this holiday, and I hope you're going to have a good family get-together. Just enjoy yourself. This is truly a family holiday. Plus, this is the one that kicks off the Christmas season. Ready or not, this kicks off the Christmas season. A lot we can talk about today, although the news is dominated. The newspapers, both USA Today and your local paper, got a lot of the OJ stuff in it, just when we thought that it was safe to read the papers again. And boy, they beat him up good yesterday. Did you read any of that? They are after him, and the man seems to have selective memory, but he does admit he has no idea how the blood got in his Bronco. We'll be following that, or you may want to talk about it. We'll go with that. Another thing I'd like to talk about. Thinking about this. Anytime I get around young folks, I start to think about this. I'm talking about people who are looking for college and thinking about it and getting ready. Childhood ambition. Boy, those change from year to year. The romance goes out of a lot of things, and from year to year. And I guess the age of the people who are making their plans or have their ambitions or think that would be the greatest job in the world. When I was a little boy, almost all my friends wanted to be pilots. That was considered the job of choice, the career of choice. And the reason was because World War II brought aviation to the top of our minds, and all we saw was glamour things everywhere, from the comic strip to Smiling Jack was all about aviation, and Buzz Sawyer during the war, and aviation. That was it. Sky King, big on the radio. He was a pilot. Very romantic way to go. And another one you don't hear anything about now. And this was one of my ambitions. I had a couple. I would like to have done almost anything on the railroad. I thought that would probably be the best job in the world, to have a job working on a train. And, wake up one morning in New Orleans and one morning in Kansas City, and somehow that just grabbed my imagination. Anything on the railroad. But one summer, I remember there was a lot of work going on where these men came out. This was the warm summertime, so you didn't see any of the bad weather. And I don't know where these folks that we watched, I guess I was 6 or 7. I don't know where these folks we watched were telephone men, power men, or what. But the guys climbing the old wooden telephone poles, with the climbers on their legs and the strap around them. And I thought, that's got to be the most fun a human being can have.
There are so many things I wanted to be, like a policeman for instance. I thought it'd be neat to be a policeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you could put on the gun belt and be like a cowboy and play cowboy and Indian.
Cowboy and crook.
Yeah. Okay. And also I wanted to be a fireman, because I thought it'd be neat driving those big red trucks.
Oh yeah.
And then also wanted to be a truck driver, because I've always loved those big trucks.
That helps. Plus, there was some romance to that too. Being in different towns across the country.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. And also, I wanted to get into the newspaper business. My father was in the newspaper, and I got to travel around with him and got to check out many newspapers all across that area. That
was another one that we would hear about on the radio about the intrepid reporters and crime fighters, and
exactly. And then also I wanted to drive like tractors and bulldozers, because like many moons ago, my grandfather was used to drive tractors and bulldozers. He worked like for the state of Georgia, like state park, and he traveled all over Georgia. And he used to take us with him, like when we were little. He used to take us to some of the state parks when he was working. And I'm pretty sure that many times we've been up there to the state park up there close to where you live at. But you know, we used to go up there and we used to have a chance to watch him work and stuff, ride the tractors and bulldozers. And I've always thought it was neat to do something like that.
Yeah, you know, that's another one that we don't think about driving that sucker in 100-degree temperature.
Yeah, really.
Probably 140 on top of that thing, you know.
Exactly.
Want to see? I never wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah, never, why not?
Well, I don't just want to hang out with sick folks. But I did think the stethoscope around the neck was the neatest thing you could do. What I wanted to do was have a nice, easy job someplace with a stethoscope around my neck. And to this day, that to me is one of the ultimate badges of honor, is the stethoscope around your neck.
So if you think you could get into it, you think you would do it?
I'm wearing one right now. I just...
and then the last one I wanted to do was be a radio announcer.
Well...
and you know, and
that's the last thing you wanted to do?
Guess which? That's the last thing I wanted to do. Guess which one I got into?
Which one? I gotta go. You take care of yourself.
Okay, have a great day.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
She's a fast rolling street line drum show. I said, look out, here she comes. She's coming, look out, there she goes. She's gone. Steaming straight from Texas like a mad dog cyclone. Look out, here she comes. She's coming, look out, there she goes. She's gone. Steaming straight from Texas like a mad dog cyclone. Look out.
You're only you.
Oh, I'm just hanging in there.
Good.
I bet here's a true story right here. I'm trying to feed them what Daddy's song I guess. President Bush was asking a bunch of their second graders in Brooklyn, you know, what they wanted to be when they grow up. Two of them wanted to be pimps, one wanted to be a jockey, and one wanted to be an ex-convict. That's true.
Where did all...
When Bush was president.
Want to be an ex-convict?
Yeah, one of them said he wanted to be an ex... President Bush was asking about the second graders, you know, this inner city school. What they want to be. Two of them want to be pimps, one of them want to be an ex-convict, one of them want to be a junkie. And they heard that somewhere, you know.
Yeah, they heard it.
Three girls want to be hoes.
We're talking about role models here somewhere along the line.
Two of those girls want to be hoes.
Yeah, I heard you.
Mama tried, though.
All right, buddy, you take care of yourself.
All right.
Talk to you. This thing's taking a bad turn, didn't it? Monroe, Georgia, and my friend John on the radio. Hello, John. John, sometimes you just sit here and you lose control.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is how it goes, see where the horse goes.
We were talking about being firemen and policemen, and first thing you know...
It all blew up, huh?
Yeah.
The woman called earlier about the potato recipe.
Yeah.
If I don't miss my guess, it was just ranch dressing to taste. After you boiled your potatoes and cut them up and add butter and salt. And then ranch dressing in it to, you know...
Just mix it right in.
Yeah.
It's kind of a different taste. Might be good.
Yeah. I always dreamed of being a airline pilot. Get in a huge jet like a 747.
Yeah.
And take it halfway around the world as the jets these days have that kind of tremendous range.
Yeah, plus, you know, as a little guy, you see that uniform, and...
Oh, yeah.
And you see the movies and television shows about it. It's,
Talk about the uniform. How about the Commandant of the Marines or something along those lines?
Oh, yeah.
See them in their... Is it dress blues? Is that what they call them?
Dress blues.
Yeah. All those medals and the pearl-handled pistol and the sharp-looking sword.
Yeah, well, I think you get the sword. I don't think you get the pistol. With
Oh, okay. either one or the other, but not both, huh?
Yeah, you know what dress blues cost when I was in the Marine Corps? $40.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what they cost now.
Well, probably with inflation, probably two. Goodyear blip, something along those lines.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
And you go for every football game in the world worth seeing, you'd be there.
Well, the ideal seat, you need a telescope to see it.
Yeah,
but,
and it never occurred to you that you're too busy flying that sucker to watch the football game.
That's right. You know there are more space shuttle pilots than there are airship pilots.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that looks like it'd be something to do is fly the space shuttle.
Yeah, well, what about the uniforms? All they got to do is kick in a uniform and a stethoscope with me, and I'm ready.
Ready to go. That's right. You ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think so. Somebody else is doing it. I think I'm ready.
You just got to show up and eat, huh?
Pretty much.
Well, you can't beat that.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
All right, buddy, you have a great one.
I'll do that. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
1-800-572-8255. Big Al, the working man's friend, is on the radio. Hello, Big Al.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
Are you ready for the turkey?
Oh, yeah.
Good man.
Oh, yeah.
Good man.
How are you, Lud
I'm
Lud?
great, buddy. You all right?
Yes, sir. Doing fine. Got to work Thanksgiving Day.
Me too, but just remember, real men work.
You got that right. Yeah.
If you can't find any way to get out of it, you work.
There you go. Got a question to ask you, Love. Then I got some old things that I remember as a kid, and then some of the things I used to think I'd like to do when I was a kid.
All right.
Is Della Reese passed away?
No.
Okay. I know she was sick there for a while.
No, she's in a hit television show.
Yeah, I saw it the other night, but I was thinking she passed away.
Well, now, if she has, I hadn't heard about it. But sometimes those things go unnoticed, unfortunately.
I knew that she had been sick. She had
Yeah, oh yeah. That's a heart condition, as I recall.
Yeah. But they went ahead and started up the show. And it's a good program. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Great show.
Good show, yeah.
Great show. All right, now, here's some things that I remember, and see if you remember them. Do you remember the little character that did the Alka-Seltzer commercials?
Speedy Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah. Well, I wish we could see that again.
I think we may have one of his commercials here someplace, radio commercial.
All right. How about the old Chevrolet commercial with the Lake Dinosaur singing the title song?
See the USA in your Chevrolet, yeah.
Do you know what church is on the corner of Hunter Street and Central Avenue on the right side?
And you talking about Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm sorry, in Atlanta, yeah.
Ebenezer?
No, this is on Hunter Street. I'm not sure if it was a Presbyterian, Methodist, or what, but there used to be a church right there on the corner, and it burned down, I think during the 30s or 40s.
Before my time.
If you ever talk to Franklin Garrett, ask him about it.
I will, because sooner or later I'll talk to Mr. Garrett.
Do you remember the old Earl Anger Theater?
No.
You remember the Central Theater?
Yeah.
Remember the Paramount?
Yep.
The Tower?
The Lowe's, yeah, all those, yeah.
How about the Great Hotel, the Henry Grady?
Remember the Henry Grady Web?
That was a good spot. How about the Rice Krispies that were on TV when they were actually talking to you?
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah.
I'm out of time, big boy. I gotta go.
All right.
You take care of yourself. I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Listen, got a tip for you, gang. Jumpstart your Christmas spirit. Appalachian Christmas at Burt's Farm. It is just something for the whole family. I want you to remember that, because you can drive through Burt's Farm for a spectacular viewing of over 500,000 lights, 35 scenes, lots of animation, pumpkins and popcorn growing right before your eyes with spectacular lighting, a beautiful light show, and it's going to run through Christmas Eve now. It started November the 20th, and it is wide open, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. I hope to be there this weekend. You load your car up and get on up there with all the children. This is good, clean family fun. Burt's Farm. It's right outside the main gate at Amicalola. But if you need directions or want to get more information, it's 1-800-600-BURT. 1-800-600-BURT.
The Sands, which opened in 1952, was the home away from home for Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, and their friends, the Rat Pack. But since then, it's been eclipsed by far ritzier resorts. In its place, a 6,000-room hotel is going up. With NBC Radio News, I'm Jeff Finch.
Give up first class phone card. Give up first class phone card. Give up first class phone card to someone you love. Ready day for occasion. They can feel the celebration. Give up first class phone card to someone you love.
Georgia, and talk to Frank on the radio. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, my man?
Very good.
Great.
I heard you mention the fact that when you were in the Corps, it was $40 for a set of dress blues.
Yeah.
I recently just came back from dressing my son, and for the Marine Corps ball,
Yeah.
he had to purchase 4 regular medals, you know, to go in his dress blue. $70.
$70 for the medals.
For 4 to go in his dress blue.
Wasn't how much the blues were.
I have no idea.
Well, time changes things, you know.
Don't they, though?
Sometimes prices get frozen in our minds. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, see, you and I both know that your dream home, I mean, the home to end all homes, ought to cost $30,000.
Yeah.
A new Cadillac 5, tops. The dream car. And dress blues about $42.50.
Well,
He paid $70 for the medal. That's all.
this is just for the full medal. This isn't campaign ribbons.
Yeah, I understand.
These are for the regular hanging medals
Yeah.
that go in the dress blue.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
He didn't think it was so funny.
No, he didn't. And I guess he could take it off his income tax, could he?
I don't believe you can do that. I don't believe that's considered a deductible expense.
Yeah. Where's he stationed?
Well, he's leaving today to go to the Med.
Oh, going on one of those cruises?
Yeah, one of those happy 6 months floats.
Yeah. They've been doing that a long time.
Yeah, he'll get back next year sometime. We went up and visited and had Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh, that's nice. Now what you ought to do is join him in Rome.
Well, I know when you were talking about your Greece trip.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the cable car. I guess you were talking about Santorini, weren't you?
Yes.
My wife said that was the biggest bargain in the entire trip. 700 drachma to ride the cable car from bottom to top.
Yeah, and you know what? That may have been my favorite stop on that in the whole.
Beautiful hour.
Did you notice the grapevines? They grow right down on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be on your knees to pick those grapes.
Yeah.
But they must be good ones because they make a lot of wine.
Yeah, well, you know, up there where all the restaurants were, and where you could sit and have a cool one and look out across that beautiful bay where the ships were laying out there or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a real pretty sight.
I guarantee you that's as pretty a sight as it is in the world. I got to tell you something happened in one of those little restaurants. There were 4 of us at the table, and we had the camera fixed so we could prop the camera up and then push a button and run around and get in the chair and get the picture of all 4 of us. We had the camera kind of on a banister, and just as it was ready to go off, the man punched the button, ran, sat down. Just as we were ready to go off, the waitress walked up and looked down at it and said, "Oh, a camera." And we have a great picture of her bosom. She's standing right there. All you can see is the apron.
Great.
You take care, Frank. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. Bye.
1-800-572-8255 is our number. Ludlow Denny on the Fun Seekers Radio Network. Mountain Boa, Alabama, and Jim on the radio. Hello, Jim.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, big boy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm over here in Judge Moore country. Court over here ruled he's not supposed to pray to open his judicial sessions. He said he's going to pray anyway. Oh. God bless him. So I don't know. I guess they'll put him in jail. I don't know if you heard about that case.
Yeah, I have heard about it. Keep me posted on that.
Well, they said he'd keep his 10 Commandments hanging up, but they said don't pray. But he said, I'm going to pray anyway. So he's a good old West Point man, you know. I guess he's going to have... I was on jury duty last week. I told you a little about it, but I mean, some of these lawyers, Ludlow, I don't know if they're dumb or they just dumb like a fox. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
Well, they had this girl, she's 3 months pregnant, and had her boyfriend in there, and she had attempted suicide. And 3 times the lawyer said, now on such a you attempted suicide, and she said yes, and he said, now was it very effective, you know? And she said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you know, and he actually said, then he said, well, was it successful? And she looked at him and said, well, no, you know, and 3 or 4 people in the thing started sniggering. And the judge said, I don't know what this lawyer was trying to get at. But anyway, he said, now the deal was they were trying to get the boy they were in, him and hard whether they're going to get married or not, but she wanted the boy to pay for all the medical things.
Is that what she was in there as a plaintiff then?
As a plaintiff, and he said, well, I just, he wouldn't marry her, but she said, I want him to pay for all the medical bills. I'm not going to abort this baby. God bless her for that. So they were trying to establish everything, and the lawyer said, now, you're exactly 3 months pregnant. Is that right? She said, well, that's what the doctor says exactly. He said, now, this is November 20th, so therefore, what would that be? August the 20th, right, you got pregnant. And she said, yes. And he said, now, did you see the fellow in question on that day? She said, yes, we had a date that night.
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
And the lawyer said, now, what did y'all do that night? And just like you, everybody started giggling, and the judge looks up, and the lawyer said, well, I mean, did you go to the movie? Or, and she said, she got red in the face, and she said, well, I think you know what we must have done, sir. I tell you, we got, I thought, is that lawyer just acting that way, or is he trying to win this case with the little, of course, the lawyer never cracked a smile.
Jury duties and education.
It's an education. And we got one old country lawyer over here, and I had heard about him, and I finally figured out his game. Have you ever been in court or listened and heard where the lawyer, these questions are cumulative? He'll say, now, Mr. Ludlow, where were you on November 19th? See, and you would say, well, I was broadcasting my radio show. And he would say, now, on November the 19th, you were broadcasting your radio show. What time? And you'd say, well, 8 to 10. And he would say, now, Mr. Ludlow, you were on November 19th, you were broadcasting your radio show from 8 to 10, and what, and something take him 5 minutes before it's over to finish, and I figured it out, Ludlow. He gets $50 an hour for consultation, but he gets $150 an hour for court appearance. So the longer he can draw the questions out, the more money he
plus that's called laying the foundation.
Oh, I know it. Well, we had a good time, and I'm enjoying the show. You said we're kind of open today. I thought, well, I'll call you up and rattle my brain a little bit with you.
I'm glad you did. Do it again, big boy.
You take care.
Talk to you soon. 1-800-572-8255. JCH Entertainment Gang, producers of the Moonshiners and Revenuers video. You can call them at 1-800-568-8348. Ludlow and Denny, the Fun Seekers Radio Network, as we talk to Bob in Harrison, Tennessee. Hello, Bob.
Good morning, Ludlow.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
I told Denny that if he'd let me talk to you, I promise I wouldn't put you on hold.
Good for you.
You remember that a couple of weeks ago?
I do.
You were held speechless. You didn't know what to do.
I couldn't believe it.
I get to thinking about an old guy that acted, and I guess maybe the last movies he made must have been in the late 40s. I was a child, but probably in my opinion, one of the most lovable bad guys, Wallace Beery. You remember him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think he died in the late 40s.
Yeah. He made, I don't know if it was one or two movies. They were Westerns with the child actress, Margaret O'Brien.
Margaret O'Brien. One of them was called Bad Bascom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy was something else. I don't know that there's been anybody come along since him, but, he was maybe a big grouch in one way or a crook, but when you got through watching him, he had a heart of gold.
Always. Do you remember John Wayne in True Grit?
Yeah.
I thought John Wayne in True Grit came as close to Wallace Beery with that lovable old grouch approach to it. Yeah. You remember Noah Beery Jr.? That's his nephew who played Rocky in the Rockford Files.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was his nephew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, looked just like him too.
I'm trying to think back to that. Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Well, listen, that's great talk to you, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving.
Okay, buddy.
Everybody out there in radio land.
Good to hear from you. Stay in touch.
Okay.
Talk to you, buddy. Bye-bye. Listen, want to send you 3 of my books just in time for Christmas. They can make 3 separate Christmas presents. $34 for all 3, including the shipping and handling, and they will be autographed. There, can I just do it till I need glasses, and other lies grown-ups told us. Who cares about apathy? And Jonas Wilkerson was a gravy-sucking pig. If you like these autographed to someone, like the Merry Christmas to Leon or something, just put a note with your order, and we'll take care of that. Here's what you do. $34, check a money order, payable to Ludlow Porch, send it to Post Office Box 1804. That's Post Office Box 1804, Fayetteville, Georgia 30214. Ludlow Porch, Post Office Box 1804, Fayetteville, Georgia 30214. And we'll give it back to you all signed, sealed, and autographed. And plenty of time for Christmas. Ludlow Porch, Post Office Box 1804, Fayetteville, Georgia 30214. $34, all 3 books. That includes shipping and handling. Do that today.
Are you?
Holiday week will be a short one for most people. Right to the phones and talk to the legendary Bozo Roberts. Hello, Bozo.
Hello.
How you doing, big boy?
What's going on?
I don't know it. How you doing?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It really is. It really is.
I believe it might snow outside today.
I don't think so. Snow, is it?
But not here.
Oh, okay.
You're somewhere outside, because really having snow inside.
You're a big Christmas guy. You love Christmas better than anybody.
I like Christmas.
Yeah.
Put that little tree on top of my wrecker and drive around.
Yeah, it's kind of a little wreath on the front. I remember seeing that at one of the wackos.
Yep. You know what I like to, usually like what I wanted to do when I was a little boy?
Your childhood ambition. What was it?
I either want to be a cab driver. That's very glamorous.
You thought a cab driver was a glamorous job?
Oh, it was cool. You get your own car.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You can take breaks whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Smoke.
Anything you want to do.
Yeah. Tell you to sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
Close that little glass between you, ain't got to hear them.
Pretty nice. That does sound good, doesn't it?
Be rude to them.
No telephone calls?
What can they do?
They're trapped.
It's either that or going to be a window washer.
Now, why'd you want to be a window washer?
You get to hang out buildings, you can spit down on people.
You were a child easily amused.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I used to get up on bridges and spit down on trains that go over.
All little boys like to spit off bridges.
Let me tell you, I had lunch with a fellow last week, and I believe he's probably too occupied with his children.
Tell me about it.
Well, we sat down for lunch, and he immediately took my plate and cut my steak up. And all through the lunch, he kept wiping my mouth. Didn't you, Denny?
Yeah, Denny's a good family guy.
I said, Denny, you ain't got to cut that up.
Oh, that's funny. Oh.
We'll take a little spoon and go up under my chin.
You got any special plans for Thanksgiving? I know you're not going to eat with Denny, but other than that, if you got any special plans.
I'm going to lay around and suck on a turkey neck.
Yeah.
Whatever's left, I just have them scrape it off into a piece of white bread.
Uh-huh.
If there's any turkey left.
A little mayonnaise?
Oh, a lot of mayonnaise.
You ever had any leftover turkey?
That night. Never ended the next day.
Yeah. Sun never rises on that turkey.
No, ain't going to make it.
Yeah. You know, I got some information here I'll be talking in a little while about. A lot of information about turkeys we didn't know.
Like what?
Well, like...
They're ugly.
They are ugly. North Carolina is the commercial turkey capital of the world with a population of more than 40 million birds.
I can see that.
Yeah. These farm-raised birds are all produced through artificial insemination, Bozo.
Ain't no fun.
Today's broad-breasted turkeys are too large and heavy to mate.
I take that a little personal.
Think that's a lie, is it?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
All right, well, it shows the turkeys are dumb, doesn't it?
They can just show them some magazines or some movies or something.
Give them a drink.
Little Johnny Mathis in the background.
Yeah. All right, Bozo.
I guess that would vary from turkey to turkey, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, we need to thank the folks in the Director of Public Information, Greg Wilson of Clemson, for sending us out. We got a lot of information on the turkeys here.
Can you imagine a bureaucrat with a clipboard trying to get this information now? No, it's too big.
I'll see you later, Bozo.
I'll see you.
Take care, big boy.
So I say after the love.
Oh, yeah. Bozo, somehow I knew Bozo could operate with that kind of information. Let's go to Knoxville, Tennessee, and talk to George. Hello, George.
Hey, big man.
How you doing,
I'll
bud?
tell you what's the truth. Anybody's watching Oprah or anything else are sure missing a bet.
Oh, thank you.
I'm telling you straight up, they're missing a bet.
All right.
It's kind of like being able to sit on the porch of an old store and listen to a couple of old-timers talk, and I guarantee you that anything they say will be more enjoyable and maybe funnier than anything that you can see on any of the 93 channels, all combined.
You're a good man. Thank you.
I got a kick out of you guys talking about the ribbons on the uniforms.
Yeah.
Picked up the phone, called the Navy recruiter, and found out the boys from Alabama. And you guys talk like you're from somewhere down in Alabama, Georgia, or Macon. You need to get somebody from Macon. I love to hear girls from Macon, Georgia talk.
Oh, we get a lot of calls from Macon.
Oh, I love that lingo they use. Anyway, I said, how much is the base pay for an E6 with 10 years service? And an E6 is something about staff sergeant or first class petty officer to me and you.
Mm-hmm.
$1,742 a month.
Wow, pretty nice salary.
And this recruiter, since he's not on the base, he gets another $375 added to that, which brings him up to a little over $2,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now.
Got to be quick.
Okay, quick. 30 days vacation, 30 working days vacation, 12 days holidays, which means that they're basically on a 4-day week.
If you say anything else, I'm going to have to re-enlist. I'll talk to you. I got to get out of here. More conversation right after this.
It's really pretty up here. I was just thinking about that you said, that man, about what the government pays these people now.
Mm-hmm.
I draw $27 every 2 weeks when I was in service. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Well, like I started to say, when you're talking to Bozo, it's hard to follow that man.
It really is.
I'm telling you what,
that's funny.
He's nothing to make you laugh and not even listen. But what I call you about, I must be a redneck because I tried to make instant coffee out of that coffee that they sent me.
Two-gallon coffee?
Yeah.
No, that's a sin to do that.
Yeah. Well, but I kind of figured it out, you know. That don't take much after that. But what I call you about, you remember about a couple months ago I told you about that movie I was trying to get a hold of at Tobacco Road?
Yeah.
And that woman called in from Rome, Georgia, said that it was going to be on TV.
Yeah.
I had 2 people try to record that thing, and it wouldn't take.
Huh.
You reckon AMC does something to?
No, I don't think so. I think they just might have had some bad tape or something.
Well, like I said, I had 2 people to.
And you still don't have it?
Still don't have it.
Bless your heart.
And my mother is she'll be 90 years old on her next birthday, and she loves that movie.
Well,
but I can't find nowhere in this part of the neighborhood to buy it or rent it or nothing. I wonder if there's somewhere, some place that carries those old tapes that a person might could order one or buy one.
A lot of places carry them. I don't know one offhand, but
I don't either.
Sit tight and keep listening. We'll see what we can find out again for you.
Yeah, and you have a good day.
All right, buddy. Thanks
and
a
don't
million.
eat too much tomorrow.
I'll be very, very careful.
Okay.
Hang in there.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Gadsden, Alabama. And Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Ludlow.
How you, old
I was going
friend?
to ask you a question. Are you the stepbrother of old Louis Grizzard?
Yes,
You said
sir.
you were in his book.
Yeah.
I haven't understood anything since 1962, another naked truth.
Yeah.
He also said that you said that a girl named Dixie stole $200 out of your wallet when you was on a date. Is that true?
No, I can't remember that now. What book was that of Lewis's now?
I haven't understood anything since 1962, another naked truth.
I think Lewis may have taken some literary license with that one.
Well, you said you was talking about them taking off the name Dixie and the Dixie Band.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, the Dixie Redcoat Band. I remember that with my letter to the editor you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Then he was going through all that, and he was telling me, I just thought, well, that's a Ludlow's porch.
That's it.
I said, he never mentions Louis Guitar being Kentucky. I wonder why.
We mention Lewis all the time. You just listen for the wrong time.
Oh, I must be.
Yeah.
Had y'all ever collaborated on any books or any songs or anything? Because he sung Grandma Willie's Yard with, that Stellar guy.
Yeah, Lewis stole a lot of my material. That's the closest we came to collaboration.
Yeah.
But we were together all the time, but we talked a bunch about collaborating on a book and just never quite got around to it,
Yeah, I wish y'all had. That would have been real interesting.
Well, he's in a lot of mine and I'm in a lot of his, and I guess that's the closest we're ever going to come. God rest his soul.
Do you know if there ever an official copy of Grandma Willie's Yard out on tape or anything, or is it just during his live performances, or what?
I don't even remember that one.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, though. Thank you.
All right, buddy, call us again.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. 1-800-572-8255, and here he is, Jack in Griffin, Georgia. Hello, Jack.
Hello, Ludlow.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm just bubbling over.
Good for you.
I'm getting in the holiday spirit, believe it or not.
Well, you're getting a nice early start this year. Sometimes I get it early, and sometimes I don't get it till I start my shopping.
Well, I'll tell you, it hits me when the cold water seeps in.
Yeah.
Ludlow,
Yeah.
first and foremost, in the area of sidekicks, excuse me, preparing my throat, President Bill and Hillary Clinton.
All right.
And,
sidekicks in life.
yeah, I don't think I'll go any further with it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ludlow.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 1-800-572-8255. Let's see some more turkey facts here that we need to thank Clemson University for. Says, speaking of funny names, a turkey was apparently a name Christopher Columbus tagged the bird with by mistake. In addition to mistaking America for the West Indies, Columbus thought the turkey was a peacock and called it tuca, T-U-K-A, which is the Indian word for peacock. But the brown and black turkey Columbus saw in the bird which traditionally symbolizes the holiday season is virtually obsolete in commercial circles. Most turkeys which end up on today's holiday tables have white feathers before they're plucked and basted. These white birds were especially bred to eliminate the dark pin feathers that show up after cleaning their dark brethren. Credit World War II and Norman Rockwell with the vision of the oven-roasted turkey on the dinner table. Remember that? During the 1940s, turkeys were inexpensive, were not rationed, and could be grown in backyards. Very good. 1-800-572-8255 is our number. I need to tell you about moonshiners and revenuers. This is a super-duper video out by JCH Entertainment about the moonshine business, the whiskey running, the making it, the selling it, the revenuers, the whole thing in its own video for you just in time for Christmas. Let me tell you how to get this from the same people that brought you the Goatman video. You call 1-800-568-8348. 1-800-568-8348. Those folks will get you one in the mail, and there's somebody on your Christmas list that wants to sit around and enjoy that. A fan of Southern folklore. 1-800-568-8348. You tell them Ludlow told you to call. Little honeysuckle rose there. as we go to Macon, Georgia, and talk to Mary. Hello, Mary.
Good morning.
Did you hear that man earlier? Wanted to hear a woman from Macon
I
talk.
certainly did, and that's the reason I called.
I'm so glad.
No, I've been trying to call for several days, but couldn't get through.
Glad you made it.
Well, I am too. We were without you for a couple of years down here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have missed some of the people, and I have not heard. Where is Woody Duck? I haven't heard from him.
Woody be back with Woody calls from time to time.
He does.
Woody's working long hours and fussing about it.
And making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, $1 a minute.
Oh, great, great. And Pretty Punky Patty.
Pretty Punky Patty teaches school, so we only get her on. We'll probably hear from her Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And one more, from Tucker, Georgia.
You got to be talking about Kitty Litter.
Kitty, yeah.
Yeah, Kitty calls.
Kitty calls, too.
Yeah.
All right, but I've just missed out on them, and I'm just looking forward to having them back.
Well, don't you move that down.
I'm not going to. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
I love it, and we're glad you called.
Well, you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
1-800-572-8255. Choo-choo man who is set to do some damage to a turkey.
Hello, Ludlow.
Hello, Chew.
And I guarantee you, I do like turkey, and I will have my part.
Good for you. I knew I knew that.
You mentioned things about turkeys. The thing that I remember about a turkey when I was growing up, Letty, I was afraid of them doggone old gobblers.
Yeah, they're big and ugly.
Oh, they're ugly, and they'd chase you, and they could be vicious. I guarantee you. I didn't want one of them get close to me.
We never had any turkey, but I felt the same way about a great big Dominica setting hen.
Well, now they're vicious too.
Do you know what you call a nest full of turkey eggs? There's a word for it. I didn't know it till I read this thing from Clemson.
No, what they call it?
It's called a clutch. C-L-U-T-C-H.
Wonder why?
I don't know. Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, now, Luddy, I guess I was in the Army at the wrong time. That $2,000 a month sounds good, don't it?
Yeah, it does. They started private off now. I think we just found out at 800 and something of private.
78.50, I think, when I was in.
Yeah, and you knew you were broke because you never had any money, did you? People used to say that money went a long way, but it didn't.
The most money I ever had while I was in there was when they gave me that $20, that flying 20.
I can remember talking to the recruiter about that paycheck, and he said, well, don't forget now, they're furnishing you clothes and your food and where you stay, and I remember thinking, well, I'll have money I can save, but I had to waste it on things like toothpaste.
Well, that was the first thing that made you do with that flying 20.
Razor blades, yeah.
Yeah, razor blades, toothpaste, shaving cream.
Yep.
And all this stuff, and of course you had to have a special kind of razor. Everybody had to have a razor that looked just like. So they got most of that flying 20.
Oh yeah, the PX love that.
Plus a haircut. They made you pay for the haircut.
I think my first one was free, but after that they were 50 cents or something like that.
No, they made us pay for ours.
Even the first one?
Yeah. Yeah, in California.
Yeah, I could have done that myself, because all they did was just take all my hair off.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, red letter the tape today of the show because Bozo had his best performance the day ever.
Bozo is a piece of work.
Ain't he, though? Well, we're enjoying it over here in Dallas, Georgia, so y'all have a good day.
Big boy, you take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye. Value Jet Airlines, gang, with low fares every day, everywhere they fly. Go to Dalton, Georgia, and talk to my buddy, Ben, there. Hello, Ben.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, buddy.
I just wanted to hear that turkey neck story from last year. Remember that?
Yeah.
That thing just absolutely kills me.
I think we found that. I think we got it here somewhere.
Oh, that's good.
Denny, did we find that? No. Denny said we did. We're still looking, though.
You got to find that. Now, that's classic.
Well,
that's classic.
It'll turn up when we least expect it.
I got to tell you a dummy on me.
All right.
The guy that works for me was going to change all my oil and get my truck gassed up and everything Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, when you get through, just bring the car back to the truck back to the house, put the keys over the visor and lock it up. My wife's got a spare key and I'll get it. Well, he did that, and then he left yesterday morning and went to work and didn't give me the spare key, and I couldn't get my daughter to work. Couldn't get my daughter to school. He doesn't have a telephone, so I couldn't get him, and I was stuck at the house all day yesterday. Didn't get a thing in this world. Talk about making you feel like a dummy. I felt like a dummy.
It only takes 1 second of not paying attention and something bad's going to happen.